Okay, let's dive into the absolutely incredible story of Angkor. For something like 600 years, this place wasn't just a city, it was the heart of a powerful empire, probably the largest city on the entire planet. And then it just vanished, completely swallowed by the Cambodian jungle for 4 centuries.
I mean, really think about that for a second. How does a sprawling metropolis, home to almost a million people, just disappear from history? It's a huge mystery, right? It's the kind of question that's kept historians up at night for centuries.
So to really get your head around the sheer scale of this place, picture this. The urban sprawl of ancient Angkor was about the same size as modern-day Los Angeles. Yeah, you heard that right. We're not just talking about some small settlement. This was a massive, incredibly sophisticated megacity.
All right, so how are we finally starting to uncover its secrets after all this time? Well, it all starts with learning to see through the jungle. You see, for hundreds of years, the very thing that ate the city was also the thing that kept its true size a secret.
Gotta understand, archaeologists on the ground had a huge problem. The jungle there is just so incredibly dense that you could literally be standing right in the middle of a 1,000-year-old city,
And you wouldn't even know it. You'd have absolutely no clue you're on top of it. All the remains, the roads, the canals, the houses, they're just completely hidden by the jungle canopy. You know those famous stone temples we always see? Turns out they were just the tip of a much, much bigger iceberg. So what changed? Well, the absolute game changer was a technology called LiDAR. Just think of it as a super high-tech laser scanner they stick on a helicopter. It shoots down millions of laser pulses that can actually get through all the leaves and branches, letting scientists create this perfect 3D map of the ground, digitally stripping away the jungle. And what they found with this tech, it was just staggering. We're not talking about a few new buildings here and there. No, this was a complete rewriting of the history books. They found hundreds of hidden temples, this enormous grid of canals and roads, and it revealed the true scale of the city for the first time. Almost 3,000 square kilometers. Just incredible.
Now, you might be asking yourself, how on earth do you support a city that big, especially in a place with these extreme wet and dry seasons? Well, it took an absolutely mind-boggling feat of engineering. The Khmer people, they were masters of one thing above all else: water. And the system they built was so complex, so powerful, that it would be the key to their rise and, as we'll see, their ultimate downfall.
The whole secret to Angkor's success was this ingenious water system. It's brilliant, really, and it worked in 3 main steps. First, they had to store the water. They captured these colossal amounts of monsoon rain in enormous, hand-dug reservoirs. Then, they had to control it, using this super precise network of canals and spillways. And finally, they dispersed all that stored water during the brutal dry season to irrigate their massive rice fields.
And look, this wasn't just some clever little local project. We need to be clear about this. Their engineering achievements in managing water, they were pretty much unparalleled anywhere else in the world at that time. They were truly ahead of their game.
So what was the result of all this mastery? Well, it comes down to one single powerful number: 48,000. That's right, this system supported 48,000 square kilometers of fertile rice paddies. That created the massive food surplus they needed to feed nearly 1 million people and to fuel a truly dominant empire.
Okay, but if they were so advanced, if this system was so close to perfect, what happened? What could possibly go wrong? Well, that brings us right to the heart of the mystery: the empire's fatal flaw.
See, the collapse wasn't just one single event. It was more like a slow decline, caused by a perfect storm of problems. First, the empire was built on this belief that their kings were literal gods on earth. But then, around the 13th century, a big religious shift to Buddhism started to chip away at that idea. And right on the heels of that, a massive climate catastrophe hit the region.
And that cultural shift is so important to understand. Those massive waterworks, all that backbreaking labor, it was all done to serve these god kings. So what happens when people stop believing their king is a god? Well, that motivation, that religious duty to keep up the constant, grueling maintenance on this super complex system, it probably just faded away.
And then came the knockout blow. We can actually see it in the scientific data. Tree rings show that in the late 14th century, the whole region was hammered by a mega drought that lasted for decades. We're talking rainfall dropping to absolutely catastrophic levels.
And this is the central irony in the whole story of Angkor's fall. That massive, brilliant, complex system, it also made them totally dependent. So when that mega drought finally hit their already neglected waterworks, the whole system just couldn't handle it. It failed. The very engineering that made the rise possible was ultimately what doomed them.
But you know, the story doesn't just end in the 15th century. Not at all. Today, there's a whole new chapter being written, the ongoing fight to preserve this incredible lost world.
Because today, Angkor faces a whole new set of threats. Kind of ironically, water is now the enemy again, with the rain eroding the foundations and making the temples crumble. You've got tree roots that literally split ancient stones apart. And of course, there's tourism. The wear and tear from over 3,000 visitors every single day is a real danger to the delicate carvings.
So why is it so important to protect this place? Well, I think this quote from a certified local guide named Poin really says it all. For the people of Cambodia, Angkor isn't just a pile of old rocks. It's part of their soul. It's buried in their hearts as the symbol of their people and their history.
And that really leaves us with a much bigger question, one that goes way beyond the jungles of Cambodia. The story of Angkor, its unbelievable rise, its complicated fall, and its modern-day fight for survival, it kind of forces all of us to ask a tough question. How do we protect our shared history from all the pressures of our present?